after hearing those cries, the lord of the trees, the moon god Soma, took care of the girl and fed her nectar from his own hand. Since you always obey me, I ask that you accept this beautiful and qualified girl as your wife. According to your father's orders, you should conceive children through her. The brothers glanced at one another. One wife between them all. Verses 16 to 18, Vishnu smiled. Although there are 10 of you, you all have the same nature. She also has nature similar to yours, and you will dedicate herself to you all. Therefore, on my orders, you should all marry her. Rest assured, there will be no conflict between you as a result of this marriage. By my grace, you will enjoy life here on earth and in the heavens for 1,000,000 celestial years. After this, you will develop pure love for me and become disgusted with the material enjoyment. You will then regard the celestial planets as being no better than hell and return to the spiritual world. The Prachetas gazed at the Lord with puzzled expressions. The eldest brother said, Lord, why do you ask us to enjoy worldly pleasures since you know them to be hellish and unfavorable to your devotion? Verses 19 to 20, Vishnu smiled. Since you are always engaged in the auspicious activities of hearing about glorifying and remembering me, you will offer the results of your work to me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary. For this reason, even after entering family life, you will not be affected by the material consciousness because of your devotional activities. You will become attached to my form. Then, as the super soul, I will both guide and inspire you to feel ever-increasing joy from your practices. In this liberated state known as Brahma-bhuta, you will no longer be subject to worldly happiness and distress. Verses 21 to 22. The princes gazed at the Lord in adoration. He was the supreme benefactor and awarder of all success. Their great friend, they felt all traces of passion and ignorance, including their doubts and fears, leave their hearts. In a choked voice, the eldest brother said, Dear Lord, we offer you our homage for you. Destroy your devotees' suffering. Your all auspicious qualities and holy name cannot be understood by the experimentation or speculation. The Vedas conclusively state that you can be known only when you reveal yourself, which you happily do for your devotee. Verse 23, My dear Lord, we beg to offer you our respects. Your form is full of transcendental bliss. When we fix our minds on you, the enjoyments of the material world appear futile and unappealing. Although you appear as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva in order to create, maintain, and destroy this world of dualities, you remain unaffected by the material modes. The princess bowed his head, and the second eldest brother, began to speak. Verse 24, My dear Lord, in your form as Vishnu, you are entirely free of material influences. Therefore, Lord, we make repeated obeisance to you. You are also known as Vasudev for two reasons. Firstly, you are all-pervading super soul. So as we know, Lord is called Vasudev with a longer pronunciation in A, Vasudev, and his father it was Vasudev. Firstly, you are the all-pervading super soul, and secondly, you accept Vasudev as your father. In this case, it's Vasudev, and as we know, in case of Krishna, we say Vasudev. A has got a longer pronunciation. And secondly, you accept Vasudev as your father in your incarnation as Krishna. You appear in this world to deliver the conditioned souls from the clutches of ignorance. You constantly think of ways to deliver your devotees from miserable conditions, and out of your kindness you always expand their glories. Verse 25, Lord, you are the origin of material creation. From your form as Garbhodakshai, Vishnu sprouts the universal lotus flower. The origin of all living beings, you are forever decorated with lotus garland. lotus garland, and your pinkish feet are fragrant like lotuses. Your eyes also resemble lotus petals. We offer you all our respects. Verses 26 to 27. The third Pracheta prince gazed at the Lord with an expression of wonder. Dear Lord, your garment is yellowish like the saffron of a lotus. Nevertheless, it is not material but transcendental, just like you. As the Supersoul, you live in everyone's heart and witness all our activities. We therefore offer you our homage. Homage, dear Lord. Conditioned souls like us suffer because we are attached to enjoying bodily pleasures. You incarnate in your transcendental form just to deliver us from the ignorance and misery, thereby displaying your unlimited mercy. If you show us such causeless mercy, what then of the grace you shower on your devotees to whom you are so favorably disposed? Verse 28, the fourth Pracheta said, My dear Lord, you destroy everything inauspicious. You display your boundless compassion to your neophyte servants by appearing in your deity form to accept their service. You accept him as pure and take him home to your spiritual abode. Please accept us in that way. Vishnu said, You are all my eternal servants. Please tell me, what do you desire? Verse 30, the brothers replied in unison, Lord, attaining you is superior to even liberation, which one easily achieves by pleasing you. Therefore, your satisfaction is our only goal. Verse 31, after consulting with his brothers, the fourth prince said, Lord, you are celebrated as Ananta, the unlimited, beyond transcendence. There is no end to your opulence and therefore no limit to what you can give. So we shall ask for one more thing. Ask for as many boons as you like, said Vishnu. Verse 32, the fifth brother said, Dear Lord, when a bee finds the celestial Parijat tree and tastes its limitless nectar, it does not desire to go anywhere else. Similarly, now that we have attained you, your personal association, we do not think there is any greater benediction. Still, we realize that due to our material contamination, we may not yet be qualified to remain with you. Rather, we may have to continue wandering in the material cosmos from one body to another and from one planet to the other. We therefore humbly pray that we may always associate with those absorbed in discussing your pastimes. We beg for this benediction in every life, no matter what body we receive or on which planet we take birth. With tears streaming from their eyes, all his 9 brothers exclaimed, Yes, this is our desire. Vishnu raised an eyebrow. If you desire the association of devotees to attain liberation, why not just ask to be liberated? Verses 34 and 35. Wiping away his tears, the 6th brother said, My Lord, we do not want anything, neither elevation to the heavenly planets nor indeed liberation. We only desire your pure devotees' association, for in their company we can taste the endless sweetness of talks about you. This is the highest benediction for those souls not yet qualified for your eternal association. Anyone who attentively discusses spiritual topics forgets material hankering, envy, suffering, anxiety, and fear. Verse 36, the 7th brother added, My dear Lord, not only are discussions of your transcendental qualities and pastimes beneficial for aspiring devotees like us, but they are also relished by liberated renunciates. Such devotees incessantly chant your glories, even if you are attracted to an assembly where the devotees discuss your glories. Vishnu smiled and nodded. Verse 37, the prince continued, Lord, your personal associates, the devotees, wander the globe proclaiming your glories. Their association is so purifying that they sanctify the holy places of pilgrimage. Anyone afraid of material existence certainly desires to hear from these great souls. Verse 38, the eighth prince said, My dear Lord, we have personal experience of the benefits of hearing from you. Your pure devotee, we were fortunate enough to briefly hear from your dear servant and intimate friend Lord Shiva. Consequently, we are now able to personally see you, who are the best remedy for the otherwise incurable disease of material consciousness. It is our great good fortune to be able to personally take shelter of you. The prince's voice choked with emotion and he was unable to speak further. Verses 39 to 40, the ninth brother said, Dear Lord, the ultimate benediction we desire is to please you. We want nothing more. The purpose of our Vedic studies, accepting our spiritual master and offering respects to the Brahmins and elderly devotees advanced in spiritual knowledge has been to satisfy you. For that reason, we renounced all envy toward anyone, including each other, and underwent severe austerities in this lake. Fasting throughout all we have done and any spiritual merit we may have accrued, we offer to you. Finally, the youngest brother, he spoke. Now it's the turn of the 10th brother. He looked earnestly at the Lord with clasped palms. Dear Lord, even great liberated yogis and mystics advance in austerities and knowledge, as well as great personalities like Manu, Brahma and Shiva cannot fully understand your glories. Nonetheless, they have all offered you prayers according to their capacity. In the same way, although we are inferior to such personalities, we too have offered prayers to you to the best of our ability. Vishnu smiled encouragingly. Verse 42, his heart melting with love, the prince said, Dear Lord, you are equal to all without friends or enemies. Without the friends and the enemies. When you descend to this world, you kill the demoniac and protect your devotees. But actually you act equally for both their benefits. Sin never contaminates you. You are the Supreme Personality who pervades all existence. Therefore, you are known as Vasudev, or one who lives everywhere. We offer you our adoration. Verse 43, the brothers bowed before Vishnu, confident of his protection. The Lord raised the hand in which he held the lotus. May whatever you have requested be granted. Vishnu turned to leave, but then hesitated and looked back at the brothers. He wanted to remain with them, but he drew on his power of renunciation and left to benedict innumerable other devotees. As he departed on Garbhadra, the Prachetas stood staring after him for a long time, longing for him to stay. Verse 44, in obedience to the Lord's order, they came out of the water. It was time to return to their father's kingdom. On reaching the banks, they saw that tall trees had overgrown the entire area. As they continued to walk, they noticed that there were no agricultural activities. Towering trees had covered every inch of land. The brothers frowned. How had this happened? One prince said, The Lord has ordered us to rule the kingdom and protect their people. But the trees have grown out of control. They have left no space for the agriculture or human residence. Another prince pointed upward. It seems like trees want to even take over the heavens. The brothers' eyes turned red. They dare defy the rule of our father. Verse 45, summoning the mystic powers they had accumulated from their long austerities, they opened their mouths and shot out continuous flames, burning down the trees in all directions that resembled Rudra at the time of universal devastation. Verse 46, when Brahma saw all the trees on earth being destroyed, he quickly descended riding on his swan carrier. He called to the princesses, My dear boys, please give up your anger. You have cleared sufficient space to resist from further violence toward the trees. They are necessary for the proper upkeep of the tree of the world. Verse 47, the remaining trees were shaking with fear. Brahma summoned the trees controlling deity. The celestials immediately appeared and bowed to Brahma, who said, please bring the trees, the girl the trees protected. The deity brought forth a beautiful maiden. Brahma presented the girl to the brothers. Please accept this girl as your wife and give up your anger. The night air had become chilly. Holding his hands up to the fire, Vidur said, did Brahma want all 10 brothers to marry the same girl? Who was she anyway? Verse 48, Mitra said, yes, Brahma asked them all to marry her. Her name was Marisa. After marrying the princess, she bore them all one son, the same Daksha who was previously Brahmaji's son. Yes, he was again named Daksha, said Maitreya. Was he not revived by Shiva after being beheaded by Veerbhadra? Verse 49, yes, he was first born during the reign of Swambhuva Manu in the first Manvantara, but as you know, yes, he was first born during the reign of Swambhuva Manu in the first Manvantara, but as you know, because of offending Shiva, he was punished by having a goat instead head substituted for own head. Thus insulted, he later gave up that body and then took birth of Marisa. Marisa's womb during the 6th Manvantara called Chakshu Shah. 50 verses to 51 verse. His bodily effulgence at the time of birth outshone the light of all luminous. His bodily effulgence at the time of his birth outshone the light of all luminous bodies. He came to be called Daksha, the highly expert. On account of his great skill in performing ritualistic sacrifice, Brahma therefore installed him as Prajapati. Instructing him to procreate and protect the creation, he became very powerful and opulent and began to guide and oversee other Prajapatis like Marichi. So thank you for joining. With this, we finish chapter 30. The Prachetas meet Lord Narayana, and next time we will read from the last chapter of this canto, Canto 4, chapter 31. Narad instructs the Prachetas. Wish you all very blissful day ahead. Hariam Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.